All right, everybody. So we're now a few days out from the debate, and the polling has finally come in. It is finally time for us to find out what kind of effect Biden's performance in that debate, which is overwhelmingly believed to be not great, had on the polls. This is the first big poll post the debate. It's time to see if Biden's muttering is going to lose him the election or not. Obviously, these polling results won't be what gives us the final result. Even if they're in favor of Biden, that doesn't mean Biden's going to win. And if they're in favor of Trump, it doesn't mean Trump's going to win. But we are getting closer to the election, and the closer we get, the closer to accurate these polls are likely to be. What does action mean? Like recording a video? Yes, I do a countdown, and I say 3, 2, 1, action. And when I say action, that's the cue where my editor cuts the video to start. Like at that point, the recording has already started, but then my editor cuts it right there. And so it has like a nice fade in to me just sort of seamlessly talking about the topic. And I don't have there's not like an official intro. It's just the video starts and I'm talking about the thing. There's no like stinger or intro thing. I think there's an intro, but besides that, it's pretty quick into it, I think, my videos. So I think that's what people prefer too.
Reporting that President Biden's family is encouraging the president to stay in the 2024 race, defying calls for him.
Why are we even giving any lip service to quote unquote calls for Biden to step down? Why are we giving any lip service to that? He's literally the currently sitting president. And on top of that, he's already the incumbent. So he's beat Trump before. Who's calling for this? The Trump supporters?
Him to step aside following his alarming performance on Thursday's debate. The family is meeting at Camp David tonight. This is part of a planned gathering that was scheduled before the debate, we're told. And the message out of that meeting, at least for now, appears to be support for the president to continue pursuing a second presidential term. CNN's Priscilla Alvarez joins us now in Washington. Priscilla, what's your latest reporting at this hour?
Well, the president is huddling with his family following the immediate fallout of his debate performance on Thursday night, and Biden advisors are telling CNN that his family is encouraging him to stay in the race and supporting him and expressing that support, including Hunter Biden and the president's grandchildren. These advisors also saying that the conversations have been focused on how the family can help the president and not whether he should reconsider his candidacy. Of course, all of these conversations follow what has transpired since Thursday night's debate, as there have been calls for the president to withdraw from the race, including in editorial boards, as well as all corners of the Democratic Party. Now,
this is really what upsets me about the left. It's the fact that there's this very, very clear lack of unity. I hope it's able to show itself when it comes to either the fascist or the liberal controlling this country for the next 4 years. But God, there are a lot of lefties posting memes where it's like, here are our choices. And it's a picture of Biden and then the meme where it's another 20 trillion to Israel and then Project 2025 and then Trump and then another 20 trillion to Israel and then Project 2025. They so clearly are not tapped into anything happening with the election or what Biden's doing or what Trump plans to do that they think Biden would do Project 2025 too. Actually, their argument for why we shouldn't vote Biden is that that Biden would just do Project 2025 as well. They literally don't know what Project 2025 is. I've even seen some claim that Project 2025 is like a lib conspiracy theory pushed by CNN and MSNBC or MSDNC, they'll say, right? It's so brain dead. It's okay, I know you've replaced political knowledge with memes, but at a certain point, you need to know what you're talking about, I think, if you're going to try to spout your opinion out there.
Well, the president himself has also been collecting data anecdotally and through public polling as he, too, tries to assess what folks are feeling across the party. And that has been a deep concern. Panic has certainly set in. Donors have been racked with anxiety over the president's poor performance on Thursday night. Now, the president, of course, did participate in a fundraising blitz over the weekend where he, too, conceded that Thursday night was not his best debate
I love
performance,
this
but said that
speech.
he would continue to fight and that he wanted to stay in the race. But the president and his campaign are certainly, Allison, under great scrutiny tonight. And what we know so far from the huddle that he had with his family at Camp David today is that he has the support of his family and their encouragement. Of course, that is no small thing. These are key players in President Biden's orbit and have been crucial in a lot of his decision making when it comes to running for president.
Priscilla, thank you very much for all of that reporting. We're joined now by CNN senior data reporter Harry
All right, time
Enton.
for the data.
He
Time for the
is here
polling.
to run the numbers. So, Harry, do we have new poll numbers for President Biden post-debate?
Are you ready to see some infuriating bias where, like, yep, 72% of voters are going to say that Biden's not mentally fit to run for president, while like 20% say that for Trump, despite Trump clearly mentally declining. But Trump's always been like that. They see it as goofy and energetic, if anything, while Biden, they like the memes about, like, we fucked ourselves by posting those memes where it's like the photoshopped image of Biden's eye bleeding and like the fake videos of him falling asleep. Like when we posted those memes and liked those memes back in the day, we fucked ourselves because that has like grown into what is now like just a false truth about Biden that everyone chooses to believe, regardless of its truthfulness. Like, you know how sometimes people just get together and decide to believe a convenient lie, just actively, like, choose to believe it even after it's not true, like it's proven to be not true? Basically, that's the Biden cognitive decline issue. Like, multiple experts have come out to say Biden's brain is certainly aging, but compared to Trump, his brain is far healthier because Trump is showing signs of a deteriorating brain, not an aging brain. And so the lack of consistent standard for Trump is very bad and very clear that there's like a bias there. Oh yeah, it's mostly bad media reporting, TBH. It's the media if the media did their jobs, we wouldn't be in nearly as much of a relative mess. And yeah, Truzan, yeah.
We do. You know, CBS News YouGov conducted some polling post-debate. We can compare it to the pre-debate numbers. And the bottom line, Alice, it's not any good. It's not any good. Look at this. Voters who say that Biden has the mental health to be president. It was just 35% pre-debate. Look where it's dropped to now post-debate, 27%. How about that he should be running for president? It was 37% pre-debate. It's now 28%. I have never seen numbers this bad for an incumbent president during my lifetime. I mean, that mental health to be president, just 27%. You might say, okay, you know, that's low, but a lot of people thought.
I need you guys to understand, like, how good of a job the president is doing does not matter for these polls. I really need you to understand that. Like, Biden has, like, back to back, week by week, been, like, giving everything that, like, the American people have supposedly been screaming for years, from, like, lowering the price of insulin, to helping veterans, to, like, eliminating student loan debt, to actually dealing with climate change. He's doing these things more than any president ever before, like, unprecedented action, magnitudes more action. And yet, meanwhile, it has no bearing on the polls or how people feel about Biden. All they need is a video of him where he sounds kind of old, and they don't care about his performance, that, like, how good of a job he is currently doing. All they care about is, like, their memes about how Sleepy Joe is bad. I really feel like people just want Trump to be president again because of the excitement, low-key. I'm really wondering if Trump wins in 2024 because a bunch of people just miss the excitement of Trump being president. How awful would that be?
Biden was too old back in 2020. These numbers look nothing like this back in 2020. These numbers were bad already, and the truth is, Allison, they have gotten just considerably worse, even in just a few days after that first presidential debate.
Harry, do we have polling yet that suggests that voters want a different candidate?
Yeah, this is the whole question, right? If it's not President Biden, then who could it be on the Democratic side? And the truth is, there are no easy answers. You know, I went back and looked at the polling versus Donald Trump for a bunch of different Democrats have been suggested. Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris. Look at this. They all trail Donald Trump. So the idea here that we're somehow
The fact is, Biden is the only person who has ever beat Donald Trump in an election, and probably the only person who can.
going to get this magic bullet that there's somehow going to be some Democrat who can beat Donald Trump easily. I just don't see it in the numbers. At this particular point, if Joe Biden takes on Donald Trump, he's trailing. If there's another Democrat who runs against Donald Trump, they too are trailing. Perhaps you want to make the argument you bring in another Democrat who isn't as well known as Joe Biden, who has universal name recognition, and maybe they could change the numbers. But the fact is, any Democrat who entered the race right now, at least among those that are being suggested by a bunch of folks, they would all enter the race at this particular point as an underdog to former President Donald Trump.
But, Harry, are those numbers old numbers or are those since the debate? I mean, maybe the conversation has changed.
Yeah, those are not numbers that have been taken since the debate, though I was looking at numbers that...
Wait, what? Wait, then why? Wait, what? Why would you even title it this? Is this some, like, bullshit from CNN? Going down their, like, right-wing streak or whatever? What's going on here?
Yeah, those are not numbers that have been taken since the debate, though I was looking at numbers that were post-debate. This takes into account an average, a long-term average, right? Because the key is I don't just want to rely upon one polling number. But
oh, he's referring to the numbers for Trump, whether or not other Democrats trail behind Trump. That's what he's talking about being not post-debate. Okay, never mind. No, it's okay. No, it's not bullshit. He's talking about the polling he just showed on screen a minute ago of comparing other Democrats to Trump's, like alternatives to Biden to Trump's numbers. Yeah, not Biden's numbers.
Even the limited polling data that we have post-debate suggests that none of those candidates on your screen, Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, or Kamala Harris, any of those would be favored over Donald Trump.
No, Gavin Newsom is despised. Dude, even Californians now hate Gavin Newsom. Fuck Gavin Newsom. Oh my God, he's so anti-gun too. Like, Gavin Newsom is the reason why California has, like, the really bad reputation with gun rights that it does, where everyone's like, oh, you better not take that slingshot into California. They'll shoot you in the face the second you cross the border if you have that in your car. Like, that kind of reputation. Gavin Newsom, fuck that guy. I hope he, like, I really would, I might break my vote blue no matter who ruled if Gavin Newsom is the fucking Democrat nominee one day. Like, that might be the exception.
He leads against all of them, whether you look at the pre-debate numbers or the post-debate numbers. And of course, I like to look at an aggregate of numbers, so that's what I did. But the fact is, even if you just did post-debate, it really wouldn't look any different.
Do you have any precedent for how lopsided Thursday's debate was?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take one solace if you are Joe Biden, the fact is first debate winner margins. Look, Donald Trump, more people by a 34-point margin said that Donald Trump beat Joe Biden in the debate. That's not much different than what Joe Biden's margin was over Donald Trump 4 years ago. It's actually larger.
Newsom is 100% better than Trump, though. Here's the thing, though. Trump would take your rights away. Newsom would take my rights away. So it's sort of an issue there where I'd just like to never see Newsom in power because he will go after my gun rights, like, entirely.
Than the Hillary Clinton margin that she had over Donald.
He'll go after, like, all gun. Like, Newsom is very anti-gun, like one of the most radically anti-gun Democrats that has power. Like, it's bad. He's really cringe.
Donald Trump. But you may remember that first debate back in 2012 where Barack Obama just did horribly. Mitt Romney won that debate in the voters' minds by 42 points. But of course, he didn't become president. Barack Obama was reelected. So I guess if you want to take a look on the one bright note, is there is a history of someone losing the first debate as an incumbent and going on to win the presidency, and that was 12 years ago.
What I think we have to keep in mind is it feels like the average Democrat is, like, incomprehensible in their politics because they hate socialism and communism, but they also love, like, a bunch of things that are associated with socialism and communism. Like, a lot of the Red Scare propaganda is still very prevalent among the average Democrat voter, but they are still, like, very progressive. Like, I know a lot of people in Florida who vote Democrat, and their politics are bizarre. And so making that voter base happy broadly is pretty difficult. I lived in Florida and knew Democrat voters who dropped the N-word regularly. White dudes who would drop the N-word, the hard R, because they are in fact racist, but they vote Democrat because the Republicans are too racist. They just like saying slurs, but the Republicans want to like actually hurt minorities, and that's too racist for them. I'm telling you guys, there are people who vote Democrat who are politically incomprehensible. The people, I need you to imagine right now, a person who loves saying slurs and making racist jokes, but doesn't want to vote Republican because they're too racist against minorities, and they don't want like anyone in power who would actually hurt minorities. They just want to be able to be racist. Like, there are legitimately people who vote both Republican and Democrat who believe that. A lot of them. Incomprehensible, I know, but it's a thing.
Okay, so you're saying that somebody, I mean, you have seen examples of somebody, coming from behind, basically, in that way after a poor debate.
Yeah, that is true. But here's the thing that I would note, which is that Joe Biden was trailing going into the first debate, okay? Barack Obama was leading. So I want to limit it down for you. Incumbents who were trailing going into the first debate and then lost that first debate. Well, how about Jimmy Carter?
I'm going to be honest. I don't think we'll ever see a popular Democrat again. Because on one hand, the Republicans are going to be so rabid until the end of time against any Democrat because they literally think insert Democrat who's like running for president is actually the Antichrist. Like before it was Obama was the Antichrist. Remember all the memes about how Obama was the Antichrist? Now Biden's the Antichrist. So the Republicans will always believe insert Democrat is the Antichrist. That'll always have a pretty heavy lean on the average like favorability for any Democrat president. And then of course, I think the average Democrat, there's just a lot of variety. Whether you've got like your Southern Democrats that are a little like iffy with their politics, but they're still like good enough people that they'll vote blue, to your more like actual progressive, like college age leftists that will begrudgingly vote Democrat. Like, it doesn't feel like even progressives want to vote Democrat, right? And so I don't think there'll ever be a popular Democrat president, and I don't think that popularity will ever have a bearing on if that Democrat can win the presidency. Because I think most Democrat voters understand it's either the Republican or the Democrat, and you don't want the Republican in power. And so it'll be always a begrudging vote blue, you know? Xander Hall, even if the Dems picked a good candidate, Trump can refuse to debate. Yeah, I mean, like, the debates don't matter.
Carter lost that one debate he took on Ronald Reagan in '80. George H.W. Bush lost that first debate to both Ross Perot and Bill Clinton. And in 2020, Donald Trump lost that first debate to Joe Biden. Well, guess what, Allison? They all lost. They all lost. So the question is for Joe Biden, can he defy history, create new history, and be an incumbent who trailed going into that first debate?
Well, I mean, Obama lost his first debate and won.
And then won? Well, he's going to have to do it if he wants to get reelected in November.
Anton, thank you very much for sharing all of these new numbers with us. Joining me now is Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Dingell of Michigan. Congresswoman, always great to see you. Thank you for making time for us tonight. You've known President Biden and his family for a long time. What do you think he's wrestling with tonight? Do you think he is wrestling with this decision?
First of all, I have not talked to anybody.
Did Trump really win the debate? Well, the decision on who won a debate is pretty much a decision of public opinion, and the public believes Trump won in a pretty strong majority.
In the family since the debate on Thursday night. I said on Friday morning, we can't sugarcoat this. Thursday night was not a good night. And we know what he's got to do. He has to go out and prove to the American people that he can still, not that he can. I mean, he has done a great job as president. And we have 4 years of Donald Trump compared to 4 years of Joe Biden. But he got to go out there and show people it was a bad night, that he is capable of doing the job. He can't make mistakes. And I think he gets that. I think this family is a very close family. They're talking to each other. And I think a whole lot of people are wringing their hands, adding to the drama. I know one thing. I know what'll happen if we have another 4 years of Donald Trump. And I am working to remind everybody of how much he doubled down on Thursday night about a woman's right to make her own health care decisions, how January 6th was okay, making fun of veterans, not saying he'll protect seniors and Social Security, that he will protect his billionaire friends.
By the way, Those seniors and like what in the UK I guess you'd probably call like pensioners, right? Those motherfuckers are going to vote for Trump in droves, despite the fact that it's Trump that's cutting their Social Security and Biden's the one that's saving it. Same thing when it was fucking McCain and Obama and Romney and Obama. Obama brought the ACA in, the Republicans attacked it nonstop, and people whose literal fucking dialysis and their like pain meds are paid for by the ACA were attacking Obama and like wanting to vote Republican and destroy the Affordable Care Act. They hated Obamacare, but they needed Obamacare.
I've been to probably 30 events since I left Washington on Friday. And while all my friends in Washington, my colleagues, everybody else is talking and wringing their hands, believe it or not, back here, people are talking about here at home. Some people are saying it was a bad debate. I had one African-American male who was not leaning towards Joe Biden said to me after listening to Donald Trump Thursday night, I think I know more why I should vote for Joe Biden. It's a long time between now and November.
The fact is, it's the same game we had to play in 2020. It's not a matter, well, it's a little easier now to sell people on how good Biden is. I think if I got the average lefty in a call and was just like, all right, why don't you like Biden? They would probably list a bunch of things Biden's done and say they're upset he hasn't done it yet. So it'd just be a back-to-back list of me saying, oh yeah, that thing you said you were mad he hasn't done, he did that. Like the climate change? Oh, did you know about the coal industry thing? Oh, you don't? Oh, well, prepare. And I don't know if they would be able to hold that opinion honestly and with a straight face after that conversation. It wouldn't be a debate. It'd be like me having to educate them about the myriad of things Biden's done in his presidency that they probably don't even know he's done. Because, like, how many lefty posts have you seen complaining about Biden not doing a thing that he's done? So many of the people on the left that are mad at Biden are so not tapped in that they're still using talking points to criticize the Democrats that have expired because the Democrats handled those issues. I saw a lefty the other day complaining about insulin prices on Twitter, and I Googled it to check. Yeah, Biden limited the capped the insulin prices to like $30, $35 from what were before hundreds of dollars. He did the insulin thing. And people still repeat the insulin thing because it's just a talking point, a buzzword to shit on the Democrats for not being good enough. But it doesn't apply anymore. It's expired. The only reason you use that like talking point anymore is that your politics are just memes and like talking points and buzzwords that are you're not even caught up on what memes, talking points, and buzzwords you should and shouldn't use anymore. What should be swept under the rug and what shouldn't. Much like Alex Jones does in a smaller dose. I guess kinda. It is entirely about Israel. That is it. I think a lot of people are mad at Biden about the Israel stuff, but it's been well before the Israel stuff. Come on, like well before the Israel stuff was like in the cultural zeitgeist. Biden was back to back doing really good policy stuff, and he was getting no credit. It's not Israel. It's not being interested in real politics. Like, you get that, right? Like, real politics are just kind of boring, and people don't like engaging with it as much. It's dry, and it's important, but it's dry and it's boring. People don't like admitting they find it boring because it makes them sound like, ugh. Like, it's sort of like when I say, I'm going to cover a genocide happening in, like, a country in Southeast Asia. Will you guys watch that segment? It's going to be really dry, and it's just going to be reading Wikipedia. And you're like, yeah, we'll watch it. And so I cover it, and I have, like, 125 viewers the whole time. I put it out on YouTube and it gets so few viewers it doesn't even appear in the list of like top 10 videos in the last week. It's like so far it's at the bottom because like I know that you guys, even you guys, will talk a big game about how you love to get into like the real politics and stuff, but I have numbers, statistics I can pull from that show even you guys, who I'd say are some of the most politically inclined, tapped in leftist audience there is, you guys don't even give a fuck. Most of the time. And so the fact is, when you guys are the best there is of the online left, in my opinion, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying that to jerk you guys off. I'm saying this because I genuinely believe it. I think I built like one of the most reasonable communities, maybe the most reasonable community in the online left. The fact that even you guys, I think, have had that problem goes to show how much of an issue it must be broadly in the whole left. you know? That, like, it's so much worse. It's so much worse. Like, there is not a desire to, like, go on to, like, the news headlines and, like, just read beyond that point to learn about what, like, the currently sitting president a year out from the election has done policy-wise for that day, or what policy prescriptions he's preparing. It's my job to cover that. And so I find myself having to constantly look into it. And I found that, like, actually, you know, low-key, Biden's actually pretty based. And I found myself more strongly believing this as time goes by. But, like, not a lot of people are doing what I'm doing when it comes to looking into how the president's doing. But I'm glad that you guys are interested enough that you're here even now. You know, IDKZan, I would be interested, though that could just be the autism. There are certainly people who would be. But like I said, there's a clear lack of desire for real politics as opposed to, like, a video of me reacting to Critical talking about, like, Dr. Disrespect outing himself as a pedo. You know, that's going to do way better than a video about how Biden just capped insulin prices at $35. You know, that video got like 3,000 views when I talked about Biden capping insulin prices. That video did awful. I uploaded a video about, like, my Helldivers going woke video will outperform that video. And I'm not saying this to, like, bitch about video performance because I'm comparing it to videos I've made that are doing well. I'm complaining about the fact that if I could trade the video performance from, like, the who cares drama video to, like, the important topic, I would. Right? Like, I wouldn't get any more views in the long run, but I would prefer that there was more interest in the hard politics. But that's a hard audience to grow. But I will grow that, like, segment of the audience that's, like, super into the hard politics over time, especially with the stuff that I'm covering. But, like, yeah. I usually just share your videos on my channel. Hell yeah. I appreciate that. No, but I bring this up because it's a really good point about how there isn't even a desire to know if Biden's doing a good job or not. It's just an immediate flash-in-the-pan assumption Biden is and has been doing a bad job.
And every one of us has a job to do to remind people what will happen if we have a second Trump presidency.
Well, I mean, a couple of things. Unfortunately for Democrats, the president's poor performance eclipsed some of the substance or the answers of what Donald Trump gave. And so obviously the president is having to, and Democrats are having to fight that wave also. There's, you know, basically it's not just pundits, it's also voters, because we do have new polling out. And you just heard from Harry Enton. So there's this new CBS poll out today. It shows that 72% of the voters polled do not think that Joe Biden should be running again. That's up 9%.
Fundamentally, though, I don't know if this changes much from 2020. Because, like, the meme was that Biden was old and dying in a month in 2020, that he won't make it to the end of this term. And now they're just doing it again this time. So I don't know if, like, the fact that he is 4 years older will have a genuine impact, or if it's just going to be the same, like, all right, I'll vote for Biden then, as Trump gets crazier and crazier towards the election, right? Because Trump's going to get crazier and be on TV all the time, ranting and raving pretty soon, and doing, like, the stuff that people didn't like about Trump, you know?
From a poll in February. So what does that make you think, Congresswoman, in terms of...
You know what, Allison?
Yeah.
It reminds me of in 2015 and 2016, when nobody thought Hillary Clinton could win. And I kept telling people, I have a gut. And I kept, you know how many people I told Donald Trump could win this election, and he would win the election. The Detroit Free Press had headlines declaring Hillary.
She misspoke there and said Hillary. She meant to say that Hillary couldn't win the election, that she had a gut feeling Hillary couldn't win and that Trump would. Yeah.
Clinton the winner that night. So these are polls. We're all throwing numbers just the way those who prepped Joe Biden probably gave him too many numbers for Thursday night. It's a long way between now and November. A lot of things can happen. We know that the president has to show people it was a bad night. He's up to the job. He had a cold. I mean, that's what we're being told. He has to show people that that's the case. But these numbers also are mumble jumble to me, because
he was also coughing once or twice, like he had a scratchy throat, like he was it was getting dry. I know that, like, I public speak, so especially when I'm coming out of a cold, and especially like when I was coming out of COVID, I had a bit where it was like I had to do that for a while, you know? You probably remember that. Like, for a week after I was recovering from COVID, I was like that. So, that lines up. He might have, like, actually just had a cold that night.
The only poll that matters is that on election day. And we got a lot of work to do. Thursday night wasn't good. We got a hard road ahead of us.
We have new reporting.
I feel like this is more... I like her messaging. I really like Debbie Dingle's messaging here, much more than the other CNN hosts who are being very doomer and defeatist about Biden. Really, I just don't think the defeatism and, like, the doomerism is healthy or smart, you know? Like, the Republicans literally, like... Republicans make memes about liberal tears and stuff because they take joy in your suffering. When you make any form of upsettedness or self-doubt or sadness or depression public and they see it, you are giving them, like, that's like pornography for them. You've just given them, like, top tier premium pornography for free, and they're going to edge to that for, like, a whole day, dude. Like, please do not just out how upset you are about these things. I also think it's important to talk about, like, what kind of voices on the left are getting a lot of attention. And I just noticed the top video recommended, it's only 3 days old and it has 9 million views, and this is just on YouTube, is Jon Stewart's Daily Show segments. For those that don't know, Jon Stewart has been ripping into Biden hard. You have to remember that some of the biggest voices in the left, and I'm talking on, like, main TV, like even Jon Stewart, are ripping into Biden, even months out from the election. There is very little desire or market for giving Biden some credit. So yeah, to be fair, Jon Stewart's based, and he is ripping Trump apart there too, but, like, you got to understand that we haven't even gotten to the phase where people are saying, like, yeah, vote Biden. He sucks, but you should vote Biden anyway. Here's how bad Trump is. We're not even in that phase yet. We're still in the treating Biden and Trump like they're equally bad phase of the election. And that needs to end as soon as possible because it is a delusional way to handle talking about them. I want to once again repeat a Biden quote. Biden said this. I'm going to say it like I'm Biden. Don't compare me to the almighty, compare me to the alternative. And that is what I want people to do for Biden. I want you to do exactly what he said, because it's a damn good quote, and it's very fair. Don't compare him to God, to the ideal standard, your ideal president. Compare him to the other guy that will be president if he doesn't win. Because it's not, you don't have a say in the matter. You have a choice between two options, and that choice will affect you. So make the choice and pick the best option. Would you say Biden is one of the best presidents in recent memory? In fact, I would go so far as to say he is the best president in American history. And I would happily debate, like, any lefties on that topic, or right-wingers, I guess. Like, straight up, Biden is without a doubt, like, better than Obama. Do you guys know why we have federally legalized gay marriage? Obama gets credit for that, but do you know who told and implored Obama to do it? Like, basically begged and forced Obama to do it and pushed Obama over the edge to make that decision? His vice president, Biden. Biden's the one that, like, convinced Obama to legalize gay marriage federally and to protect it federally. That was technically Biden. Like, sure, it was Obama that signed the paper, but Biden is the one that said, hey, Obama, you should use your executive power to federally protect gay marriage. That would be a really good decision. Biden is a progressive, and he knows the types of policies that need to be made to show that. The problem is, more now than ever, we are in a era of political history where policy does not matter. Memes, rhetoric, and zingers do. Charisma matters more than policy at this point. But we'll see how it turns out when the election comes around. We will see. If you enjoyed the segment, please consider leaving a like. It really does help a lot. Every thumbs up goes a real long way to help the channel, both live and when I upload my videos. Comment down below as well for the similar effect. I really do appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe as well and ring the bell icon so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video. And also, If you want to see more from me on other websites, consider following my social medias, which are all linked down below in the description, including joining my fan Discord. It's totally free, and there's a link down below for you to join. I host watch parties, call-in streams, or game events there every week, so I hope you decide to join. I also announce all my new uploads and streams, so you won't miss anything if you show up for that. So yeah, I hope to see you there. And if you want to support me directly, financially, you can do so by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buying merch to the Streamlabs link down below. But regardless of how you support me, even if you were just watching the stream and lurking, thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.